Welcome to 7 Things. We've brought you a new video on the world-famous company Microsoft. When it comes to companies, we certainly get some of the names in our minds. One of them is Microsoft. Every child born in the 90s has the permanent memory built in their brains of the desktop computer with the software Microsoft Windows in it. It's an American technology company headquartered in Redmond, Washington. It was founded by Bill Gates and Alan Paul on April 4, 1975 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It serves various verticals of computing technology in the industry such as software development, computer hardware, consumer electronics, social networking services, cloud computing, video games, corporate venture capitals. Let's share some light on the important people in Microsoft up to date. Mr. John Thompson is the chairman. Mr. Satya Nadella, the Indian-American business person, is the CEO of Microsoft. Mr. Brad Smith is the president and at last the most important person. Mr. Bill Gates is the technical advisor. After talking about the most important people, let's move toward another important information, which is products and services Microsoft has offered and is still offering. Products: Windows, Office, servers, Skype, Visual Studios, Xbox, Surface Mobiles, and many more. Services: ES Azure, Bing, LinkedIn, Yammer, MSDN, Office 365, OneDrive, Outlook.com, Microsoft Store, Windows Update, Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Live, and many more. Net income of Microsoft is $44.3 billion with the total of 156,439 employees. So now, as you know the basic information about Microsoft, let's get set 7 thingers for the 7 things you didn't know about Microsoft. Number 7. Founded and moved. Microsoft was founded in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1975, was registered in 1976 as a company, and in just 4 years, that is 1979, it moved to Bellevue, Washington. The level of progress and hard work done by Mr. Gates and Mr. Paul was phenomenal. Soon after, in 1981, IBM introduced its personal computer with Microsoft's 16-bit operating system MS-DOS 1.0. Again, in 5 years it moved to the corporate campus in Redmond, Washington, where currently it is headquartered. In the last 45 years the company has done great work for the entire world. The first ever mention of Microsoft was in a letter from Bill Gates to co-founder Paul Allen in 1975. Gates initially wrote the company name as Microsoft, which made sense considering it's a portmanteau of microcomputer and software. Losing the hyphen, Microsoft was officially registered as a company in November 1976 in New Mexico, where Gates and Allen were working with their first major customer, MITS. Microsoft didn't move to its current campus in Redmond, Washington until 1986. The Microsoft logo has changed several times over the years. The current Pac-Man logo was introduced in 1987, but previous to that was the Blibbit logo. The Blibbit refers to the stylized O and was apparently once the name of a burger served in the Microsoft company cafeteria. Number 6. Microsoft uses code names. Ever since the company's first operating system, Microsoft has worked on its projects under code names, of which Wikipedia has a long list. Apparently Gates was ready to launch Windows under the name Interface Manager before he was persuaded to change it by an employee. Past code names include Longhorn, Lone Star, and Vienna. While you might be tempted to add Mojave to that list, it's actually part of a Microsoft ad campaign. Microsoft code names are given by Microsoft to products it has in development, before these products are given the names by which they appear on store shelves. Many of these products, new versions of Windows in particular, are of major significance to the IT community, and so the terms are often widely used in discussions prior to the official release. Microsoft usually does not announce a final name until shortly before the product is publicly available. The Mojave experiment was a marketing exercise that battled Vista's poor PR by presenting the software to new users as a fresh product. It is not uncommon for Microsoft to reuse code names a few years after a previous usage has been abandoned. For example, Longhorn is the code name for Windows Vista, Whistler Server for Windows Server 2003, Whistler for Windows XP, and it goes on. Number 5. Microsoft celebrates anniversaries with M&Ms, Softies. All companies have their little in-house traditions, and Microsoft is no exception. It seems it's customary for Softies to celebrate their yearly employment anniversaries with candy, and more specifically, M&Ms. Each anniversary, a Microsoft employee is expected to provide £1 of M&Ms for every year they've worked. That means if Bill Gates observed the tradition, he should have turned up with 33 pounds of M&Ms on June 27, 2008. Luckily Bill Gates is a rich individual. He has been working at Microsoft since 1975, meaning that in 2011 he has to come up with 360 bags of M&Ms. Now we know why Mars M&M's brand is so profitable. We would like to suggest you to watch 7 things you didn't know about Bill Gates. Click on the I button at the top right corner. Number 4. Microsoft asks strange interview questions. Microsoft has a reputation in the industry for asking offbeat, off-the-wall questions during its job interview. The most oft-quoted question is, why is a manhole cover round? Whether this particular example is genuine, or an urban legend, it's certainly true that Microsoft employs a very unusual, and forward-thinking interview process. It's even rumored that companies like Google have since emulated the style. Rather than plain, where do you see yourself in 5 years, type questions, Microsoft is more likely to ask you to solve a logic puzzle or think through a problem like, design a coffee maker that will be used by astronauts. Obviously, Microsoft isn't planning to go into the coffee in space industry anytime soon, but the process serves to find candidates that can think creatively. Microsoft's interview technique was innovative, and subsequently developed by other large technology companies including Amazon, Facebook, and Google. Coding interviews test candidates' technical knowledge, coding ability, problem-solving skills, and creativity, typically on a whiteboard. Candidates usually have a degree in computer science, information science, computer engineering, or electrical engineering, and are asked to solve programming problems, algorithms, puzzles. Coding interviews are typically conducted in person or virtually. Manhole cover question. The question of why manhole covers are typically round, in some countries, was made famous by Microsoft when they began asking it as a job interview question. Originally meant as a psychological assessment of how one approaches a question with more than one correct answer, the problem has produced a number of alternative explanations, from the tautological, manhole covers are round because manholes are round, to the philosophical. Number 3. Microsoft's first killer app Excel. Microsoft's first killer app is Excel spreadsheet, which gained tremendous success because of its features. There is one important factor which most of the spreadsheets doesn't know to handle, which is the easy-to-use features. Windows 3.0 has changed this scenario totally by introducing easy functionality such as toolbar, which you may start to think of as a thought process instead of a spreadsheet. It unseated the reigning spreadsheet champions Apple VisiCalc and Lotus 1-2-3. Without Excel, nothing else would have been possible. Its functionality is tremendously increased and easy to use as well. For example, the spreadsheet contains 255 worksheets at the same time in one spreadsheet regardless of format and structure. It lets you start with the desired result and takes you back to the initial variable which you may wish to find. It's very easy to share results with other Windows applications. Also, it can read and write the Lotus files and can convert the 1-2-3 macros and offers online help to guide you through your transition from Lotus to the friendliest spreadsheet. Number 2. Windows desktop backgrounds and sounds. Everyone knows the desktop backgrounds of Windows. That personal computer at people's home was famous with 2 basic things present inside the computer. The first is the wallpapers and second is the Windows sound notifications. Sonoma County, California was the location of the most famous Windows desktop backgrounds, the field with a blue sky or bliss to give its official name. The photo was taken in 1996. Once you listen to it as a composition, it sounds rather complicated. Ethereal. Perfectly crafted. Surprisingly, it was made by the king of ambient music, Brian Eno, who was tapped by Microsoft's executives to create this piece of music. They gave him a long string of adjectives that the sound needed to capture, quite a task considering the original brief was for a piece that only lasted 3.25 seconds. If you're familiar with Eno's stretched-out ambient epics, it should come as little surprise that he ended up with a piece close to double the intended length. What a showboat. The idea came up at the time when I was completely bereft of ideas. I'd been working on my own music for a while and was quite lost, actually. And I really appreciated someone coming along and saying, here's a specific problem, solve it. The thing from the agency said, we want a piece of music that is inspiring, universal, blah blah, da-da-da, optimistic, futuristic, sentimental, emotional, this whole list of adjectives, and then at the bottom it said, and it must be 3.25 seconds long. I thought this was so funny and an amazing thought to actually try to make a little piece of music. It's like making a tiny little jewel. Before moving to number 1 fact about Microsoft, we would like to suggest you to watch 7 things you didn't know about Bill Gates. Click on the I button to watch this video. Number 1. Microsoft holds over 10,000 patents. Microsoft holds over 10,000 patents and files around 3,000 every year, ranking as one of the top 5 patent owners in the US. Although a large majority of the patents relate to obscure elements of software, the 5,000th and 10,000th were consumer-friendly, easily understandable ideas. The 5,000th was for tech in Xbox 360 games that lets people watch a video game remotely, while the 10,000th was for the Microsoft Surface, linking real-life objects with data and images. Microsoft also rewards its staff members for securing a new patent. Besides a $1,500 bonus, they get a wooden plaque and a decorative black cube that features their name, as well as the title and date of the patent. People who watch till end, we always keep bonus for them. Here is one more fact about Microsoft you would like to know about is: Microsoft campus is full of bunnies. Our very own Jolie Odell found a great factoid about the Microsoft corporate campus she gleaned while on a recent visit. So, back in the mists of time, some people dumped a bunch of rapidly reproducing pet bunnies leftovers from kids' Easter gifts on a grassy knoll near the MSFT campus, Jolie said. The bunnies started doing what bunnies do best, that is, making more bunnies. At one point, there were so many that MSFT staff had to start catching them and having them spayed and neutered. Nowadays, you'll still see lots of rabbits hopping around, though. Way cuter than Google's goats. It seems the bunny proliferation has been a long-term issue. According to a 1998 Seattle Times article, the Redmond rabbit problem does not just affect Microsoft, but Nintendo, Eddie Bauer, and other companies in the area. The problem back then spawned the Redmond Rabbit Coalition Group, many members of which are now involved in the current-day Evergreen Rabbit Rescue, who campaign for a humane solution to the ongoing pest problem. So let us know in the comments which of these facts you found interesting. If you are new to our channel, press the subscribe button immediately. If you think this video was helpful to you, then share on WhatsApp or Facebook. Press the bell icon to get the latest notification. Thanks for watching. This was the list of the 7 facts